Alright guys, so today we're actually going to start with dividing polynomials, and it's going to be important that you know how to do long division in general, and if you know that concept, then it'll make this easier. So I'm just going to go over a real basic problem here. Let's do 23. And we're going to do divided by 2. We're going to do long division. So 2 goes into 2 one time. You bring down your 2 here. You subtract. This is 0. I then bring down my 3. 2 goes into 3 one time, which is 2. I subtract. I bring down my 1. Now you guys should remember how to do this because it's going to be a remainder. Alright, and actually it's going to be a remainder of 1. Or we can say that this is 11 and 1 over the denominator is the divisor, which is 2. So this is the same thing as 11 and 1/2. Okay? Or I actually could also write this as 11 plus 1/2. Either way, it's the same thing. Okay? So that's a quick rundown just on how to do long division in case you forgot. So the first thing you want to do here is you want to check and see first, does this factor and does this go into it evenly? Okay, just like if I had a number 4 over 2, I know that this goes into 4. So I would be able to do the division. So we're going to start by factoring the numerator. This is going to be negative 12, positive 4, which means my factors will be 6 and negative 2. So this is going to be n plus 6 over n minus 2 divided by n minus 2, okay? And we should be able to see that these will cancel, leaving me with an answer of n plus 6, all right? Now, this is the short way of doing it. Now let's say I'm going to go ahead and erase the X box here. Let's say that we weren't sure, okay? And I'm going to show you the long way first, or I'm going to show you the long way with an easier problem like this. So what you're going to do is you're going to put n minus 2 outside. You're going to put n squared plus 4n minus 12 inside. Now this is how you do long division with polynomials. When we're looking for the factor, the number that goes up here, we're only looking at this variable here. So I need to multiply n by what to get n squared? Well, that would be n. N times n is n squared. Now, what this negative 2, where this negative 2 comes into play is when I do the multiplication, just like we did with our numbers, when I multiply the n times n to get n squared, I'm also going to multiply the n by the negative 2 to get negative 2n. Now I am going to subtract, okay, which makes that a negative and this a positive. So that means this is 6n, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring down my 12. And now I'm going to say, okay, n times what is 6n? Well, that's going to be plus 6. So 6 times n is 6n. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. I subtract again. This becomes a positive. This is 0. So that means that my factor then, or my answer then, would be n plus 6, which is what we got here doing the factoring way. Okay? Now that's long division. So now we go to a problem like number 2. Let's see if it factors. We got 28, and we have 10. Factors of 28. 1 and 28, 2 and 14. 3 does not go into 28, it's 4 and 7. 5 doesn't go into 28, and 6 doesn't go into 28, which means these are my only factors. I do not have any factor that I can add up to get 10. So that means this doesn't factor. So we're going to have to do this the long way then. So this is going to be n plus 5 divided by n squared plus 10n plus 28. And now we're going to do our multiplication the same way. So n times what gives me n squared? Well, that's going to be n. This is n squared plus 5n. And I subtract. 10n minus 5n gives me 5n. I'm going to bring down my plus 28. And now I'm going to multiply the n by 5, because 5 times n is 5n, plus 5 times 5 is 25. I'm going to subtract. This is going to give me 3. Okay? Now 3 doesn't go into n. There's no way to multiply n by a number to get 3. So this is going to be my remainder. So the way I'm going to write my answer then is just like we did with the number, where this is going to be n plus 5 plus 3 over n plus 5. Okay? Or another way you would see this written, and if you want to write it this way, that would be perfectly fine. Because you don't need the parentheses because it's addition. Okay? If you know how to do long division, the only thing that makes this more tricky is that you're dealing with a variable, but it isn't that much harder, so don't panic when you see it. Okay? Make sure you write down any questions you have, write down any steps. Make sure you have the steps so there's no credit. And be prepared to come to class ready to work on some of this tomorrow. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night.